Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Now today I want to give you a very quick review of the Pixel 9a. Now this device is actually being used for close to a week now, and I just want to give you a very quick take on whether the device is suitable for you or not. So we're going to go over a couple of things that I really like and a couple of things that I feel is just doesn't make sense on the Pixel 9a. Now just to give you a bit of a perspective, today's review is going to be based on the pricing that we have here in Malaysia. And since we're talking about price, let's start off with that. I know in the US it's going for under $500. But when you actually convert it and bring it here to Malaysia, this starts at RM2699 for the 128GB variant, which doesn't make sense at all. No one's going to buy a 128GB phone today. So we're going to take a look at the 256GB version, which makes more sense, and that is going for RM3199. Yep, that's a lot of money, and for all my overseas friends, that's about $730 for a Pixel 9a. Anyways, there are a couple of things that I do like and a couple of things that I didn't. So let's head over to the desk and let's check out all of those. Let's go. Alright guys, so now that we are at the desk, let's take a closer look at the Pixel 9a. Now first things first, one thing I really like about the device is actually in terms of the build. It's made very well. It feels fantastic. It's got this really nice smooth matte materials at the back that doesn't capture any fingerprints whatsoever. The buttons here are a little bit tight and the sound is actually a bit odd, like just listen to that. But overall, I think it looks great. We have these different kind of pastel colors all around, which I think does add a bit of fun to the Pixel 9a. Alright, so moving on, let's talk a bit about the display at the front. So the good thing is that we do have 120Hz here at least compared to the iPhone. So we do have 120Hz here, which is actually very smooth. We do have a very colorful AMOLED display, but here's the main problem guys, and I'm not even talking about that super thick bezel that goes all around. I know a lot of people are complaining about that, but my biggest issue here is actually that the fact that this is actually a POLED display, a plastic OLED display, and that means if you just look closely at the background of all these whites, you actually notice a bit of a mural or a couple of grain going on at the back, and once you've seen it, you just can't unsee it. And I think that's a huge, something that's really annoying to me, because whenever I'm just going through the screen itself, I can actually see the murals going on at the back here, the grain and all that, and I think it's just, it's a bit of a put off, because phones of half the price don't even use this kind of plastic OLED display. Now you can read up more on why Google actually went with this kind of cheap display. On their website, they did a blog about that, but yeah, it's not a great display just in terms of the viewing experience. Moving on, let's talk a bit about the performance. Now we do have a fairly nice processor in here, the Tensor G4. So it actually allows you to navigate through the device very quickly in switching during apps. Everything is just very fast and speedy. Now I actually did a very quick Geekbench score test, and this is actually the kind of result that you will get. I would say this is slightly more an upper mid-range kind of performance that you're going to get here. And when it just comes into gaming, now I do have a Mobile Legends installed in here, and if you just go into the settings over here, you notice that it only supports super high frame rate and ultra graphics. So there's no ultra frame rate levels on the Pixel 9a. You can't get that 120 FPS, which again you do get on phones that are a bit more affordable. So what you're really buying here is actually the Pixel experience, this kind of OS, very clean kind of UI and all that, but you're not going to be getting like super great performance when it comes to gaming. Now let's move on and talk about a couple of things that I do really like, and that's in terms of the cameras. Now at the back, we do have a 48 megapixel main unit together with a 13 megapixel ultra wide. Now the quality of the camera is actually really good, and I've got a couple of photos here taken during the day as well as the night that I want to show you real quick. Now photos taken during the day is actually very good. They look very natural. It's actually very similar to the ones that you would see on an iPhone, and the colors are actually pretty spot on in terms of what I'm seeing in my own eyes. I also noticed that when taking video at 4K 60 FPS, it's super smooth, and the OIS on board actually helps you to get a very stable video. And I think that's super useful if you're going to be taking a lot of vlogs and all that, especially in today's social media era where a lot of videos is actually super important. Now the only downside I would say is actually in terms of the night photos, which doesn't really do a great job here by the Pixel 9a. You notice that it's trying very hard to actually use a lot of software to compensate for the lack of a better sensor. And at night, you might notice a lot of graining in the skies, which I think again shouldn't be so bad on a phone like this. And if you just take a look at this building over here, you can see that it's really trying to brighten out the entire scene, but I think it could be done a little bit better. So the daytime photos and the video is excellent, but in terms of the night photos, it's not going to be that good on the Pixel 9a. Now last but not least, let's talk very quickly about the battery in here. Now we do have a fairly decent battery, but the battery life is excellent. I really enjoy using this phone because of the battery life. Actually, that's one thing that I want to highlight, and that's because it actually lasted through the entire day, barely dropping at all. Supports a slightly faster faster charging. Definitely cannot compare them with the Xiaomi and Oppo and Realme of today, but it's a little bit faster. I think it's 23 watts, and it also supports wireless charging. Alright guys, so just to sum this video up real quick, there's again a lot of things that I like about the Pixel 9a. For instance, it's got that really nice build quality. The cameras during the day is actually excellent. Taking videos is also really good. However, there are a couple of drawbacks here that you might want to take note of before actually buying the phone. First up, the camera itself isn't that great at night. If you're going to be taking a lot of night photos or you want to take a beautiful night scene, you can't really do that on a Pixel 9a. You know, there's a lot of noise in the night photos that I took on this guy. Now, secondly is the display. Now, I did mention earlier on that it's using a POLED display. Again, you can find more details on Google's own blog, but this display is a little bit annoying to me because once you see the mural or the grains on the display itself, you can't really unsee it, and it kind of gets annoying because it disrupts the entire viewing experience. Now, that's not even talking about the thick bezels that goes all around, which I know a lot of people have commented on, both on my TikTok as well as on my Instagram. But ultimately, for the price of RM3199, I think that's the biggest deal breaker over here. In Malaysia, we have a lot of good phones out for that price, that kind of money, and if you just add 100 ringgit, you could get a Xiaomi 15, which, you know, arguably gives you better cameras, a way better display, you know, even better battery life, faster charging, and even stronger processor. It's just a better phone all around for an additional 100 ringgit. So yeah, let me know what you think about the Pixel 9a. Is the price worth it? Is it worth 3199 for that 256GB variant? You know, is this something that you might want to buy? And for all my friends from different countries, do you think this phone is worth $730? And what is the price that is being sold in your own country? Let me know down in the comment section below. With that said, thank you for watching today's video. Really got to go right now. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, stay safe, and bye-bye.